Okay, we're out here with my wife's 2008 Nissan Rogue. I believe it's a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. We got a valve cover to replace, some spark plugs and spark plug coils. So let's get into this. Okay, again, like I said, this is a 2008 Nissan Rogue. There is some videos out there that is, I think the Nissan Altima, I believe, that has the same motor. There's some videos I used to get the information to do what I'm getting ready to do. It's first time I'm doing a valve cover. So I'm going to take you along this journey, but do apologize if I end up moving fast through some of this or something. I'm gonna just try to get it done, but I'm gonna take you along through the journey. I'm gonna try and be a little bit intuitive. I will try and be more intuitive with more videos, but I'm not really meaning this to be a complete how-to, but I will try and explain things along the way and just keep going through the processes. So if any of the information helps you, then that's a plus. That's something I want to do, but I'm not really gonna try and say this is a complete how-to. So, but I hope you can enjoy the information anyways, and hopefully I could put still good video out there for you. So here we go. Okay, I'm gonna start out by undoing the battery. This is a 10 millimeter wrench, and we're gonna start off by undoing the negative first, then the positive, and we'll move on. Here we go, got the battery disconnected. You really don't gotta do both of them. As long as you undo the negative, should be fine, but I like to be overly safe, so I just took off both of them with this 10 millimeter wrench. I set the negative behind here and this positive right behind there, so we should be good to go, and we're going to move on to the next step. Okay, it looks like we got a 10 millimeter to take off here and also 10 millimeter to take off there, so we're going to take those two off right now. And then we got, looks like also a hose clamp to take off here, and then take a little bit of prying, but get this piece off. Okay, we got the air intake resonator box off. That is this part. And so, and I've kind of cheated a little bit. I started taking these off. Basically, if you push this tab down with your thumb, these will pull off. On mine, it is easier kind of to take, these are 10 millimeters, take that bolt out first. So I'm going to finish taking these off by taking this bolt out. Then again, this little tab, if you just squeeze it, it'll just pull right off of there, and then you can get all these spark plug coils off. So that's what I'm going to work on next, is taking the rest of these off. Okay, I was able to get all the spark plug coils out of here and also detached from these pigtails. And again, these are just 10 millimeter bolts. I just stuck them back in here so I don't lose them. Again, this is just all one unit. They come out of the tube right here, and then if you squeeze this little tab down, sometimes it may be a little stubborn. You just get in there with little pliers and just squeeze down on that. Just be careful not to break any of that off, but that will take these off, and those will be coming out of there and getting replaced, so I'm not worried about those. But next we're going to do is start removing some of these little clips and different things to pull this wiring harness back to allow us some room to get in here. The other step we're going to have to do is also undo these motor mounts. So I will be also bracing the motor up underneath with probably a 2x6 or 2x8 with a jack. But we'll get through this here and get to the next step, and I'll keep recording. Okay, down in these tubes is the spark plugs. These are a 9/16 spark plug socket, so make sure you have a 9/16. I also got at least a 10-inch extension on here to give myself room to be able to get that off of there. But I'm gonna take all 4 spark plugs out now, and I do got new spark plugs getting ready to go back in here, but for now these ones got to come out. Okay, we got 2 10 millimeter bolts with this bracket that has a 14 millimeter, 14 millimeter, 14 millimeter. I believe all of these here up here are 16 millimeter. We got one 18 millimeter right here. All this has got to come off, but also we're gonna end up bracing the underneath with a jack, and also either a 2x6 or a 2x8, whichever one you have on hand, to protect the oil pan, not put too much pressure on it. But we're going to brace the motor up underneath. So that's 2 things we got to do right here. Brace the motor up underneath where the oil pan is, but just use a board or something to protect the oil pan. And then we're going to take all these bolts and the mounts loose and get all these motor mounts out of here. So this is my method of holding the bottom up. You don't have to necessarily have this long of a board, but it does need to be wide, like at least a 2x6 or 2x8. You could probably get away with this that way, and then just have it underneath the oil pan, and then just jack it up. Just whatever jack you have on hand. This is just an old Craftsman 2.5 ton little jack. As you see, it's nothing special, but it will do the job. As you see, I got quite a bit of everything off, including the valve cover and the gaskets. I did have to take the coolant reservoir off to finish getting the motor mounts out, but they're all out right now. I'm currently right now in the process of cleaning all the areas where the new gasket's going to adhere to, and basically I'm as very careful as I can. I'm using this razor blade and going through here. If I get that to focus, and I'm getting at there so I can pull off some of the old gasket material. I also got a little cleaning brush, but as you do this here, kind of work in ways where you're not putting debris inside the motor. I also got this t-shirt material to cover the motor, or the inside, so hopefully debris doesn't end up inside there, and protect the cylinders inside from anything dropping down inside those spark plug holes in the cylinders. So, but we're moving all along, and I'll keep recording. Again, like I've said, I'm not going to try and do a complete how-to. I'm just taking you along for this journey. So if I'm skipping things or moving kind of fast, hopefully as I do more of these, I could be more intuitive or show more. But I'm just showing me kind of working on my wife's car and giving some instructions along the way. So I'll keep recording and keep this video going forward. Okay, as you see, I got the new head gasket on with all the 10 millimeter bolts tightened down and also torqued, and I also put a little bit of, in all 4 corners, a little bit of automotive grade silicone gasket seal stuff in just the 4 corners. That's what I've researched on Google and also YouTube, so I went ahead and just done that. I also used kind of a thing of doing the center bolts working outwards. I tried to Google, because I know There's specific patterns that the dealers or Nissan or manufacturers recommend to use certain pattern, but I could not find accurate information on that, so I just did the best I can, because the main purpose is to make sure when you're tightening these down that you do it where everything presses down evenly. So all these gaskets in here, these seals, presses in evenly. The gasket around here presses evenly. So as long as you can accomplish that, then that's the main goal. So I just kind of went with these center bolts. Then I done an X pattern for these bolts here. Then I kind of just done these two in, and then the centers here. And I didn't just tighten them all the way tight, kind of tighten them so they touched, and then went around with my inch-pound torque wrench and done a first pass with a lighter torque setting at 20 inch-pounds, and then I went through again with 80 inch-pounds. So that should get it close enough to the torque specs that it should be good enough. So my next step is I'm going to start putting the spark plugs in, start reattaching a lot of these wiring harnesses, and start getting the rest of this back together. Okay, now we're starting to put some of these wiring stuff back. These here controls, I believe, the fuel injection. You could use long needle nose pliers, or if you have a beautiful wife, they could come out and get her little skinnier hands in there to push them down. Your wife works good too. Okay, now I got this hose that goes to the PVC valve hooked back up, and now I'm also going to rehook up the throttle body and keep moving forward. Eventually get the plug wires in, and then also start working on the motor mounts, putting them back on. Hopefully we'll be ready to fire this up pretty soon. Okay, as you see, we're getting the motor mounts back on. They're not all the bolts are tight yet, because I was working everything loose. The best thing to, or tight, the best thing to do is put this piece on first, and then put this piece where it's lined up, and use your jack to kind of, depending on the height, if you got it jacked up too high, lower it a little bit, or if you got your motor where it's sunk down a little bit, then you can use your jack underneath to raise the motor up, and then get these lined up, and then start putting the bolts in, and then wait till you get all your bolts in, including this bolt and these bolts. Wait till you get them all in first, and then you can start tightening them all down. But we're getting all the motor mounts on, and we'll keep moving forward. Okay, we're moving on along. I got one of the spark plug coils in. These are kind of the spark plug wire and coil all in one. Just go down in this tube right here, and this 10mm bolt goes right in here. I'm just hand tightening them right now. And this here just gets kind of pressed on there, so it fastens onto the spark plug in there. And just put the little clip on here, and we keep doing the rest till those are done, and we'll keep on moving with this. We're almost done. Okay, putting the coolant reservoir back on. Had to get this off when I took the motor mount out, so give it room to go this way and out. And so there's a little piece of the reservoir that goes in there. You may have to actually angle this in, and then fit that in there first, this part. And then once you fit that in there, then here's a threaded bolt. It sticks out. You just put the nut back on, and make sure to put your line back on down there. But getting that on, next is the air intake resonator box, and we'll be close to checking the fluids and oils and stuff, making sure those are topped off right, and starting her up. She is running and she's alive. We'll keep an eye out the next few weeks to see if there's any leaks or anything. Hopefully there's not. I may even take one of those coils out and make sure those tube seals are actually doing what they're supposed to. But right now she's running. We'll let her run a little bit and put the tools away and take her for a test drive.